Now, I've been tracking this war for 20 days now. I've read the defense assessments, the military advisor briefings, the cost exchange numbers. What I found should concern every American. Now, here are my 7 reasons I believe the U.S. is in serious trouble in the Iran war. But before we get to those 7 reasons, let me frame this a bit for you. Now, the U.S. and Israel attacked Iran in June of 2025. We were told that all the Iranian missile sites and nuclear facilities were destroyed. But were they? Now, Tulsi Gabbard, the current director of national intelligence, once the golden girl of opposition to any war against Iran, testified before the Senate Intelligence Committee. She was grilled by Senator John Ossoff, a Democrat from Georgia, on whether the intelligence community believed there was an imminent threat of a nuclear attack from Iran. This didn't go well for Tulsi, who refused to answer the question. The reason she couldn't answer it honestly is because Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu lied about Iran having nuclear weapons. This has been going on for 20 years. Once again, Donald Trump uses lies to make foreign policy decisions. As of today, the war against Iran is still raging. The U.S. and Israeli militaries have said they've struck more than 7,000 targets inside of Iran, and once again claiming to have struck missile bases, nuclear facilities, and command infrastructure. That sounds like progress, right? But progress toward what? There is no declared war, no exit strategy, no defined victory, and Iran is still launching a whole lot of missiles. And while the Pentagon is counting craters, Iran is counting something else entirely: U.S. and Israeli interceptor missiles. Now, let's start at the beginning. Reason number 1, Netanyahu forced Trump's hand. This war was never America's war. Iran never threatened or attacked the United States or Israel, but Secretary of State Marco Rubio confirmed it. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu told President Trump that Israel was going to strike Iran with or without us. That left Trump with 2 choices: watch an ally go it alone, or get out in front of it. Keep in mind, an unprovoked attack on a foreign nation is an illegal act under international law. So the president chose poorly again. But here's the signal. When a foreign leader forces the hand of the President of the United States, that's not an alliance. That's leverage. Reason number 2, Trump ignored his military advisors. The president's own military leadership urged caution, and he ignored them. General Dan Kane, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, told the president directly that this would not be easily done, not easily won, not a quick strike and done. He saw the complexity. He saw the risk. Trump didn't. This is a man whose entire job is to tell the commander-in-chief what is and isn't winnable. When your top general looks you in the eyes and says, "This will not be easy," and you proceed anyway, that's not bold leadership. That's ego overriding expertise. And we see this a lot from Donald Trump. After 21 days in, General Kane is being proven right. Reason number 3, no Congress, no allies, no plan. This war was launched in a vacuum. Congress was never consulted, not a single vote, no war powers authorization. Our European allies, not called. The Arab nations that house our military bases in the Middle East were not briefed in advance. Think about that. The United States launched a military campaign against a nation of 93 million people in the most volatile region on earth without telling the people who host our soldiers where the bombs were going to fall. When Iranian missiles hit those bases, that was the bill coming due for that silence. Reason number 4, we're running out of interceptors. And this is where the math gets brutal. Neither the United States nor Israel had a deep stockpile of interceptor missiles going into this war. We began depleting our inventory of interceptors during NATO's support of Ukraine's war with Russia. Then we depleted more of our inventory in the 12-day war against Iran last June. Now, the Patriot missiles and arrow systems are not something you see in a warehouse. Raytheon produces roughly 240 Patriot interceptors per year, with plans to increase that production to 420 per year. I've heard different numbers, but it's still not a lot. On the other hand, Iran has literally thousands of drones and missiles they make cheaply compared to those complex missile defense systems. One Patriot interceptor cost about $4 to $6 million. One Iranian Shahed drone costs between $20,000 and $50,000 each. That's about a 100-to-1 cost exchange ratio, and we're on the wrong end of it. Number 5, Trump and Hegseth catastrophically underestimated Iran's power. The theory was that if you decapitate Iran's leadership, that if you kill the Ayatollah, take the top generals out, remove the command structure, the country would fracture from within. That theory was drastically wrong. What happened was just the opposite. Iran unified, Iran hardened, and here's the signal that should have been obvious. 30 minutes after the first U.S. and Israeli strikes, Iran launched its counterattack. 30 minutes. This is not improvisation. This is a pre-positioned, pre-planned response. They used hypersonic missiles, cluster warhead missiles, and drones. Iran also used up thousands of old missiles and decoys to force Israel and the United States to use up their interceptor inventories, all staged and ready to go. Iran wasn't just prepared for this war, they were waiting for it. Reason number 6, the Iron Dome and Patriot missile systems are failing. The missile defense systems that were supposed to protect Israel and our bases in the region, well, they were being overwhelmed. The Iron Dome, Patriot, and THAAD systems are all extremely expensive defensive systems designed for a specific threat. But they are failing to down Iranian missiles, especially the newly unveiled simultaneous saturation attack missiles, hypersonic missiles, and drone swarms at the same time. You cannot shoot down what you cannot intercept fast enough. Right now, Iranian ballistic missiles are getting through. They are hitting Israeli targets hard. But because there is a media blackout in Israel and the U.S., the amount of damage done to Israel is not reported. The Iranians are also striking our military bases in neighboring Arab nations, bases where our soldiers are stationed. The shield has holes in it, and Iran found every single one. Now, before I go to reason number 7, please, if you enjoy the content we provide you here on Clear Signal, consider subscribing to this channel. Also, hit the like button and share the video with as many people as you can. Thank you. And here's reason number 7. Iran's real weapon is the Strait of Hormuz. And this is the one that will decide the war. Iran did not fight this conflict the way America expected. Many military strategists believe America is still fighting a 20th century war, carrier groups and air power. But Iran is a huge nation, much bigger than Iraq and Venezuela. For Iran, it was never just about military power. It had a very different strategy than the U.S. From day one, Iran's targets were calculated for maximum economic damage. Billion-dollar radar installations gone. U.S. and Israeli intelligence headquarters hit. Critical infrastructure that took years and billions to build, destroyed. But the crown jewel of Iran's strategy was shutting down the Strait of Hormuz. Iran has effectively declared economic war on the U.S. 20% of the world's oil and natural gas supplies move through that strait. Right now, it is being choked. Here's the signal. Iran knows exactly what Americans care about. Gas prices. And this isn't just any time of the year. We're now heading into spring and summer driving season, the highest demand period on the American calendar. Every cent the gas prices rise, every week those tankers sit idle. That is a political grenade rolling down the Oval Office. The United States has very few military options to force the strait back open. You can't bomb your way to lower prices. Meanwhile, the U.S. is spending billions of dollars per day prosecuting this war. Billions per day. The U.S. debt just jumped to $39 trillion. This is happening with an economy that was already showing fracture lines before the first strike. Iran's bet is not that they can defeat the U.S. military. Their bet is simpler than that the economic pain will become so unbearable at the pump, in the markets, in the polls, that Donald Trump will face irresistible pressure to stop. And based on that math, that bet looks increasingly sound. We have a problem, though. It's called escalation. And here's how it's beginning to escalate. What happened? Well, Israel decided to bomb the South Pars natural gas site. This set into motion retaliatory Iranian strikes on Qatar's infrastructure, knocking out 17% of its LNG export capacity. They also attacked Saudi Arabia's Red Sea port of Yanbi and Israel's oil refinery in Haifa. This may not be over yet. If you didn't know, LNG and oil prices are set to explode. So you might ask, where does this end? Here's my call based on the evidence. The United States cannot sustain this war at current interceptor depletion rates past 30 days, maybe to 45 days, without a negotiated pause. I personally think it's much less than that. Iran knows this. They're not trying to win. They're trying to outlast the U.S. Donald Trump is considering sending Marines to the front. Now, many military analysts believe it would be a difficult move to mount an offensive under these conditions. Other analysts are telling us to watch for back-channel negotiations through Qatar, which has been the diplomatic backdoor before. Trump is out of options. Iran has stated they will not negotiate a ceasefire. Who will break first? The decapitation strategy failed. It always does. The shock and awe theory failed. What's left is one option that was available before the first bomb ever fell: diplomacy. Of course, the increase in the price of oil is causing a ripple effect throughout global economies. Inflation in the U.S. is beginning to spike. This is bad timing for Donald Trump, considering the employment numbers are dismal and U.S. GDP collapsed in February. So much for the greatest economy in history. With the 2026 midterm elections quickly approaching, be wary of President Trump's unbridled hubris and lack of empathy to be put on full display for the world. It is possible that Trump, knowing he has been strategically defeated, might go all in. Trump and Netanyahu could decide to go nuclear on Iran. The ramifications of such a decision will ripple around the world, placing the United States and Israel as nothing more than warmongers and butchers. 7 reasons. 7 warning signs that were visible before this all started. That's if anyone was looking. The mainstream coverage isn't doing the math. Subscribe if you want the next update the moment it drops. And tell me in the comments which of these 7 problems do you think is the most dangerous. I'm David Thompson, and this has been Clear Signal. See you next time.